Thank you. She will be beaten if you teach her that. I heard these words and cringed. I felt tears in my eyes. It was 2004. My team and I were working to transform a device I had invented to teach reading called the LeapFrog LeapPad into a low-cost platform to help educate non-literate women in Afghanistan. LeapFrog, of which I was a co-founder, had been contacted by the Secretary of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Tommy Thompson, who had seen our LeapPad. I'd created the LeapPad in 1998, and by 2004, this tool had helped 100 million children around the world learn to read. It quickly became the #1 selling toy in the US, above Barbie dolls and Hot Wheels and Razor scooters, landing in about 77% of households with kids from ages to 4 and 7. Secretary Thompson had asked us to make a custom LeapPad that would speak in Dari and Pashto, not to help educate children, but to help non-literate women and mothers in Afghanistan. In 2004, more than 80% of Afghan women were non-literate due to restrictions by the Taliban. If a husband were to find a woman learning certain information from our LeapPad, he would beat her. To address Secretary Thompson's request, I began researching oral cultures. I led our team to adopt a new mindset in interactive learning for non-literate adults. We began from scratch, discarding our thinking and the biases around the LeapPad interaction models we had so painstakingly crafted for literate children. We carefully defined our PTS, our problem to solve, and collected data and defined metrics to teach Afghan women about sanitation, nutrition, depression, pregnancy, immunization. We researched oral and literate cultures, beginning with the findings of Dr. Walter Ong in his book, Orality and Literacy. Ong postulated that literacy and writing restructure human consciousness. Learning to read and write fundamentally changed the way we think. I wondered, what would it feel like to have never seen writing or text, such as was the case for many Afghan women? How could we teach these women with our LeapPad? How would they respond when they touched a pen to paper and they heard words? For an oral learner, there's nothing like the written word. Spoken words are transient. By the time a word has been spoken, it has already passed out of existence. So the idea of looking up a word in a dictionary has no meaning to an oral learner. Further, an oral communicator doesn't think or speak in terms of ideas and concepts or abstractions. Rather, thought is in terms of experiences. This concept itself is difficult for us as literates to even understand. Our brains have been rewired with literacy to achieve a higher plane of thought and a different consciousness. For example, a literate thinker might say honesty is the best policy, both abstract terms, while an oral thinker would say the honest man always prospers. The phrases honest man and always prospers depict concrete situations that can be envisioned by a listener versus the abstract concepts of honesty and prosperity. So in my speaking to you now, I've assembled my thoughts solely based upon having become literate, which has allowed me to create the abstractions necessary for me to build an outline for a speech and to structure my thoughts as expository text. So, to teach Afghan non-literate women, we created interactive stories, getting a woman to touch a picture of a person, then another, then another, then another, and listen to them speak to one another. Our PTS, problem to solve, included teaching mothers to use boiling water to sterilize, to eat carrots to reduce night blindness, and to accept vaccinations to prevent disease. We shipped 20,000 of these Afghan LeapPads to health clinics in Afghanistan where women could use them safely without fear of violence. Each Afghan LeapPad cost a mere $7 to manufacture. That was 15 years ago. Smartphones and tablets didn't even exist then, nor did virtual reality or artificial intelligence. So over the past 30 years, I've founded or co-founded half dozen companies with inventions that apply technology to advance literacy, learning, and thinking. In addition to the LeapPad, my company's inventions have included an interactive globe to address geographic illiteracy, a smart pen at LiveScribe that makes a digital copy of your notes when you write with synchronized audio. And more recently, I founded iFluence to transform intent into action through your eyes by looking. to advance human intelligence and collaboration in virtual reality and augmented reality, or VR and AR. Google purchased iFluence in 2016, which led me to connect Google with Rotary for virtual reality, and I drove the development of the VR experience that debuted in Atlanta in 2017 called One Small Act. So as Rotarians, our strength is our passion and commitment, our volunteerism, our independence, and also our potential for synergy with one another. We're strongest when we come together, as we have done here tonight and can do now freely with technology. We will drive illiteracy and ignorance into the past, just as we are making polio but a memory. And we will create the future for ourselves, our families, and their families that befits the honor and privilege it is to be a Rotarian in today's world. So I thank the Sierra Madre and Pasadena Rotary Club and you all, and my hometown Lafayette and the Marinda Sunrise Club. Thank you.